Greetings everyone, TJB Chris here with yet another addition to my collection. And actually we have a twofer this evening. We have this, new to me, TRS-80 Model III. This is a 16K unit, and obviously no disk drives. And it's got some well-loved keyboard use. Actually the placement of the hands here suggests maybe a game with the arrow keys was pretty common on this thing for whatever it did. And the keycaps are actually quite bright. The keyboard sounds nice. I'm really excited about this machine. Again, diskless, although because it's 16K, it likely has Model 3 BASIC in it. In fact, I'm pretty sure it would. Only the 4K ones, I think, were level 1, but I could be wrong. There's some scuffs and stuff on the case, and we'll go over that in a little bit of detail, but nothing too major. It's actually in really nice shape. The only downside to it is the power cord is cut, so I need to do the once-over on this before we power it up anyway, so I'm going to take this thing apart. I'm going to take a look at the power supply. If the safety caps need replacement, I will replace them. I think I have the ones that this needs, and we'll get to that. Part of me has always wanted a Model 3. That battleship gray color and the whole thing just really makes it. And to be honest with you, this form factor really is just kind of the epitome of retro computing. Anyway, so that's the Model 3. This is the one we're going to look at first tonight. We're going to actually take this one apart. It still has the service seal, warranty seal intact. It's been taken apart by Radio Shack Service. But the service seal they put over the screw is still intact, so we're going to be voiding a warranty. And now let's take a look at the other machine. And here's machine number 2. This is an early TRS-80 Model I, so lacks the numeric keypad. According to a sticker on the bottom, it does have the lowercase mod installed. I have not taken the machine apart, I have not verified that yet. I don't even know how much RAM is in it, given the expansion interface and disk drives I bought along with it. I'm going to imagine 48K, but that's not a guarantee. This machine is not fully functional. The seller powered it up, and the screen has synchronization issues, which we're going to have to look at, and I believe it needs some attention in the RAM department. You can see on the display that it does power up to basic, but there's some garbage on the display, and it acts sporadically. So there's going to be a lot of work that needs to be done with this. I'm missing the 40-pin cable here, so we'll have to make one of those, but we'll do that. And the seller actually said he has some additional cables for me, which he's going to mail me, so that's really nice. And that's going to be the second project. I actually have a lot of reading to do on this machine. I know some about the Model I, but not a ton. It's not actually something I've read a ton about. So this machine was made in early 1978, so it is an early unit. Just like the Model III, the floppy drives, the expansion interface, and the computer itself all have Radio Shack Service stickers, and they are all intact. So when we go to break into this thing, we are going to be voiding some more warranties. And again, just as was sitting next to the Model 3, we have ourselves a local whiskey, from which I will now take a sip. I haven't had that one before. It's new. I discovered it while I was out today picking this machine up. So, anyway, without further ado, I'm going to lock the camera down. We are going to take a look at the Model 3. I'll put it on a towel, we'll spin it around and just kind of take a look at the case. We'll get the top off of it. And we'll take a look at the power supply. Alright, just taking a look at this, I'm just going to kind of spin it around here, but it's really not in bad shape. Of course, it feels so light without the floppy drives. I mean, there's some scuffs and scratches, but I mean, overall, not in bad shape. You know, I see people repaint these things, and I mean, to be honest, they do a nice job, but they never come out exactly right. And my problem is, I'm picky enough that if this doesn't match exactly, I don't want to do it. So honestly, I probably won't bother. Some people have done some really nice job. I'm not, criticizing anybody who's repainted one of these. I've seen some folks have done some real nice work and gotten real close, but for my money, unless I can talk to a couple of the folks that have gotten real close, some more scuffs here, I'll knock my phone off, I'm not going to bother repainting, and I probably would do a shitty job anyway, so it's better off as it is. I don't really paint well. And then here we go, and of course we have a lot of scuffs and scrapes over here, but it is what it is. I'll show you the bottom, and then we're going to actually take the screws out of it, and we're going to pop a warranty seal cherry and go on from there. Okay, so this is catalog number 261062, which I'm pretty sure is pretty much exactly what it is, a 16K Model 3. Low serial number 8846, so this is an early unit. Again, a Radio Shack Service seal. So we'll be breaking the seal on this machine, and that doesn't look like it's really been tampered with. The bottom is in really nice shape. So I think what we're going to do now is pop all these screws out, and we'll get it down. It's on the towel because this machine's painted. All the other machines, I mean, obviously I want to scratch them up or mar them up, and I usually do paper towels, and sometimes nothing at all, but depending on how much I think I'm going to be moving them. But this, I don't want to make the paint any worse. So, like I say, not that it's bad or anything, but I don't want to be an idiot and mar it up, so I'll put it on a towel. So anyway, let's get this thing apart. Alright, moment of truth. These two I'll dump out, and I've got the one on the back of the cabinet that we'll get, but I hate to do it, but it's got to be done for the power cord anyway, so here we go. I'm going to pop the cherry. Pop! Alright, we're going to remove the screw from the back here, and then we will lift off the case. Okay, just as with the Model 4, you have to be careful because the neck of the screen can crash into the chassis in the back here and you can destroy a CRT. So, actually what I'm going to do, just to make this easier, I'm going to pull the 16B keyboard out of here so I can move it. What I'm going to do is just kind of, I always lift and pull forward and let the back of this kind of hit the back there. Now, on this one, because the floppy plates, the blanks are there, you can't really see into the machine. Good, good, good. That's it. And that's it. Let's take a look at what we have in here. Alright, well we have some cleaning around the keyboard bezel, which I will do. That's filthy. Power supply actually looks like it's in halfway decent shape. I will replace this Rehab cap. And is there another one on there, or is that the only one? I don't know. Well, I think that's the only one. Well, we'll take a closer look, and if I have to, we'll do it. Coming over to the video board. It's an early Model 3 board. CRT's intact. Doesn't appear to be damaged at all. So I think we're in pretty good shape there. Obviously, we have the power cord here. This is safe enough. I think I can power it up. Maybe we'll get lucky and get some magic smoke. Let's see, what do we have here? Shop 0112. This is on 1482 Tech RK. I wonder what happened. Alright, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to disconnect the CRT. We're going to spin this mofo around and we'll take a look at the motherboard. Alright, static shot for this. Here you can see the expansion connectors. I'm surprised there's no... I'm used to the Model 4 where there's an outer, the whole thing's shielded, but I'm always surprised too that the Z80 is socketed. That's interesting. I mean, everything looks like it's in decent shape. 16K RAM, Tandy Corp branded chips there. We got the power coming in. We got some gunky fuzz there. That's lovely. I'll give this a bit of a shot of air. A, B, and C ROMs down at the bottom here. And serial connector for the serial port. But otherwise, really, there's no serial port or floppy controller in this, obviously, but we're doing pretty good. This thing actually looks like it's in pretty decent shape. Decent enough that I think when I get the power cord replaced, I should be able to power it up without too much trouble. At least I'm not seeing anything that's really making me concerned. So I think that's going to be the first order of business. And if we get some magic smoke from that Rehab cap, well, that'll just be a nice little YouTube bonus. Otherwise, I probably will replace it. I'm pretty sure I have a 0.1 floating around here someplace. But honestly, it's so weird lifting these up with the drive towers, and they look weird. I've never seen one like this. And I'm going to clean up this gunk around the keyboard bezel just because. Alright, so here we are. I have skipped a couple of steps in the video because it really wasn't all that engaging. I've got myself the new power cord routed. I managed to use the old strain relief. And what I've got here is everything stripped up and ready. The old power cord I just snipped off, so I'm going to cut these, I'm going to strip them, and we're going to solder them together. I've got a few pieces of heat shrink tubing here that we're going to use. If these don't work, I do have more, so we'll just bring those out. And hopefully this all goes together well, and we can try and power it up and see what happens. So here we go. Alright, I'm wishing I used a little bit bigger heat shrink, but I did get it over, and it is nicely insulated. On this one, it didn't quite go over, so I did electrical tape it just in case. It's the ground, so should be okay, but the neutral and the hot, looking good, nothing breaking through. I think we're happy there. So I think this is now okay to use and try out. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to put the towel back, we're going to put the CRT back on. I've kind of looked this over again. I really don't see anything that makes me think I shouldn't try and apply power to this. So I think we're just going to plug it in and see what happens. Hey everyone, it's the next day now. We had a little gap in there because I got distracted by the things, but now I think we're going to try and power this up and see what happens. Hopefully I get no smoke or anything. This Rehab cap looks like it's in okay shape, and we'll see if we get anything on the screen. And then if we don't, we'll go from there. But here we go. Okay, well, I got nothing there. Let's take a look on the inside here and see if we have the filament lit up. Okay, the filament is lit up. Okay, well that's good. So I'm going to see if we have, maybe we can adjust the contrast. Alright, let me futz with the controls and see if I can get a raster pattern here. Alright, contrast and brightness. Nothing there. Okay, that one turns though. Ooh, that one doesn't turn. Okay. Okay, so we know we at least have some semblance of power going somewhere. There's 12 volts going to the CRT. Oh, well that's not necessarily enjoyable. Okay, well it was lit. It's interesting that it kind of, when it went off, it went down to a single dot. Alright, so let's do this. I'm going to remove these controls, and I'm going to try and deoxit them a little bit and see if I can get this one exercised and moving again. Hopefully I can get it to function. And then if that works, we can at least see if we get a raster pattern on this. And if we do, that's good. It gives us some idea that the CRT works, at least partially works. We have a lit filament. We did see the artifact when we powered it down. But I'm suspicious about this whole thing. So, okay, we're going to remove these. There's just 3 screws here. This is the first machine I've had where the contrast and brightness knobs didn't work. Okay, I'm going to pop this knob off here. Ooh, okay. Alright, I'm going to grab a wrench here. I'm going to go light on this, but I'll see if I can get it to turn at all. Ooh, it does turn a little. Okay. You know what? Let me just see if I can get... I'm going to pop you back in. Be careful here, but... Okay, so I'm going to deoxit this. I don't want to... I'm afraid doing that spot on the CRT is going to wreck that part of the screen if I do it too much. It looks like a pretty intense dot. So what I'm going to do is run some deoxit into this. Well, let's do something here. Deoxit's kind of messy. Go right in through the keyboard here. Just going to shoot it in here and see what we can do. Alright, let's give this a turn and see if we can exercise it a bit with the deoxit in there. Hopefully that'll give us a little better... Ooh, it's getting a little easier. If this doesn't do anything, I'm going to move to the power supply first before I go too far down a rabbit hole and find out I'm missing something. Now that is much easier to move. Like I say, this one moves a little harder, but compared to the fact that I couldn't turn it at all before, I'm going to say that's better. Okay. Now this has to dry out. And I'm going to help it along. A little canned air. Alright. Now the instructions for the deoxit say to let it sit a couple of minutes. We are in fact going to do that. And then I'll probably give it one more little blast of the air. If I get anything out, I'll do it again, but we're just going to let these kind of drain. Alright, it's been a couple of minutes. Let's hit this with canned air again. See if we get anything out of it. Let's see here. Good. Okay, and these are nice turning freely. I think I'm going to be comfortable enough now that I should be able to power it up without blowing it up. Alright, got this turned a little bit so you can see I don't want to keep moving the camera around. So let's see what happens. Okay, we are live. We have a lit up filament. And let's see, do I get anything? I get nothing. Nothing. Okay, alright, and we have that again. Okay, so something, these could be part of the problem, but something, before I get down the rabbit hole here, we're going to start with the obvious, and we're going to start with this power supply, and just make sure that we don't have any glaring issues there. Again, I want to not turn this thing off too many times. I don't like that dot it's creating on the screen. I'm afraid that's going to cause some damage to the phosphor there. But a few times is unfortunately necessary. So I'm going to remount these, and then we'll get this on to the next step. So now they're back in. The machine is now off. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to break out the meter. I'm going to do a little bit of testing on the power supply. We'll start with the these three connectors all have the same voltages from top to bottom. I believe that's 5 volts, 0V, and then plus 12 and minus 12, I believe. So on the CRT side, for these two, the 0 and the 12, I should just be seeing plus 12 volts. And then on the other ones here, I should be able to get the requisite voltages out. So let's get the meter set to 20 here. That way you can see it. Nothing. Oh, there we go. 11.88. Okay. Close. That explains the lighting up. Okay, good. Here, I'm going to use this set actually so it'll be easier to test so I don't run the risk. Okay, so let's do the bottom one there. Am I getting there? Nothing there. Do I have to be on the same connector with it? Ooh, minus 12. Okay, excellent. Okay, and finally, let's see if I can get 5, and we'll just see if I can stick it in the top here without shorting it out. Ooh, I do not appear to be getting 5 volts. Alright, just for the sake of me getting a, just see if I can do it this way. No 5V. Alright, I'm going to do a double check on that, but that might be our issue. We might not be getting 5 volts. Okay, for the sake of my own sanity, I'm going to use a smaller tip here. I'm just going to not nail myself on this. I'm going to see if I can get 5 volts anywhere. Oh! Got a little something. Oh, no, we have 5 volts. Okay. So the supply appears to be working okay. I just didn't get a good connection. I always want to double check that. Okay. So the power supply, although not entirely right on the money, is functioning. So that's good. So now the question is, what is not? Alright, just for giggles, before I go too crazy, I'm going to see if these pots even work. I'm going to break out the meter again here. I've got it into ohms mode. And we're just going to pop these clips on, and we're going to see... Oh, we got something. Okay. Okay, this one seems to be working pretty well. As you can see as I vary it, actually seems pretty good. Okay, excellent. Okay, it goes above 2 mega ohm. Great. And if I up the granularity here, you can see if I go even more. Oop, that's too far. Excellent. So, I mean, honestly, these seem to work pretty well. Oh, this one seems to work pretty well. So what I'm going to do is grab the next one, and we're going to see if that works as well. Just give me some idea. Okay. Okay, this one may be a little different. Appears to be working. I don't know what these should read. I'm going to have to look at the service manual. 70, 100. Okay. It's all the way up to 185 ohms. But it does appear to be working, so I think it's cleaned out. I can double check those, but that is going to lead me away from these for now. So the fact that we have a complete lack of raster actually leads me over here now. So that's good. I think I am still going to break out the scope and just make sure that the signals are getting here. But with power, regardless of the signals, as long as the board's powered, I should be getting raster. And if these are working and I'm within spec, then I think that's probably going to indicate that we have a problem over on the video driver board. So hopefully it's something simple. The other thing I am going to do, I think should be okay, but I'm going to double check. There's a fuse here, and I want to make sure that that fuse is not half blown or otherwise in bad shape. Alright, you didn't see it, but I have off to the left here. I did manage to get the meter probes in there without doing anything and check the fuse. The fuse looks like it checks out. The plastic's a little yellowed, but I go through it with a flashlight. It doesn't look like the fuse is burned. I can see into it and I can see the filament in there, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to focus my energy here. We're going to grab the scope and make sure that we have connectivity, or we have the signals that we expect here. That'll actually give us a pretty good indicator of whether something's happening over here, and then I think we will be focused on the driver board. So that's next. Alright, scope set up and running, and now the next step here is to see if we have signals making it down here. So this actually connects back up here to J5 on the board, and it also has another split in here that goes to the power supply and this bottom connector. But we know we're getting power, the thing lights, so I want to see if we're getting any data. This board's relatively simple. It's got 12 volts coming in, the ground of course, and then it has a vertical signal and then the actual analog video signal. So I'm not sure of the pinout of this, but we should be able to pick out those two signals really. If we're getting a vertical and a video signal, that might give us some clues as to if anything's coming out of this end. Again, since there's no raster, I suspect that we'll see something even if the main board isn't completely functioning. So I'm going to zoom this into the scope just a little bit. Okay, let's just get this out of the way. Alright, here's what we're going to do. We're going to attach our ground lead nearby. Nice solid ground. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to fire this up. I'm just going to start from the left and work my way to the right, and for each one we'll just let the probe try and do it. Okay, we're lit. So I'm going to start with red here. Okay, we got something. Ooh, that looked like... Let me get back on there. That is a 15 kilohertz signal. So I'm going to put a fiver on the fact that this was better intentioned going this way than didn't actually work. I'm going to bet that is the vertical signal. That's a 15 kilohertz signal. That's good. Okay. Alright, we'll keep on moving and see what we get. I found the vertical. What I'm really trying to see is if I can find... Ooh. Oh, hello. I bet that's the video signal. That's the cursor, I bet. You see those blinking. Some of this is just me, my hands moving it. But you see that? Let's hit the reset button. Ooh. I'm going to hit enter. Memory size. Radio Shack Model 3 Basic. Ooh. I think this machine is working. I just think we have a problem with the CRT board. That is the CAS prompt. That is the memory size prompt. And you can see, I wonder if I can... You go out? Oh, yeah, you're not granular enough out. You can see the cursor blinking. And some of this is just me moving it, but also enter. And now we have Radio Shack Model 3 Basic. Something just happened over there. So this tells us some good stuff. Alright, I know that the motherboard in this is alive. I know that the keyboard is in fact working. And I'm pretty sure I heard or saw something. And I'm smelling it. So now this is going off. Something is definitely wrong over here, and I am now starting to smell it. I'm going to have to look back. You probably saw, I thought I saw and heard out of the corner of my eye just a little boop. And I'm going to pull the smoke detector down before that goes off. I'm going to open the door. Okay then, so we have an issue. Something is up. I did get a pop. Hopefully it comes up on the video. You're zoomed in, so you probably didn't see it. But I thought I caught out of the corner of my eye something happened over here. But it wasn't loud, it wasn't very bright, but just something happened, and now I can smell it. So I think I'm going to power this up real quick one more time. Filament's still lit. And the screen does still light. I did get the dot at the end, although it doesn't last as long. Alright, so while this was off camera and I was working here, enjoying the fact that I could see the cursor blinking on the scope. That was neat. I thought I saw out of the corner of my eye a pop, or like a flash, and I heard something. It wasn't loud, but then it started to smell. So I have wisely powered it off, but everything here confirms all of my suspicions that the issue here is the CRT driver board, and perhaps I have something as easy as a rotten cap or something else on there, or other bad component. But otherwise, the motherboard appears to be working. The keyboard even appears to be working. I get it to respond. I can see the cursor blinking on the scope here when I hit the video signal. I see a 15 kilohertz vertical sync, so I'm really happy about that. And I think if I can figure out what's wrong on this, I'll be in pretty good shape. So I'm going to leave this for a day. I'm going to let the caps all drain out. I'll probably pop this when I'm ready to work on it anyway, because of course, I always want to drain the CRT. Alright, I think that'll do it. This is a good place to stop. This video is getting a little long between the intro and the walkthroughs and the initial probing and stuff. This video is already going to get a little long. So, join me next time in what will now be part 2, when we'll take a deeper dive into the video driver board. We'll discharge the CRT and kind of take a look at that, see if there's an issue on it that I think I can repair. I think worst case, I probably can get a hold of another one of these boards. Actually, I might have one floating around. I might actually have another driver board floating around. I'll have to look. If I don't, I think I can get a hold of another one. This is the early, Model III driver. So we'll get that taken a look at. And once this comes back, I think we're going to have a serviceable machine that works. The motherboard appears to be processing. The cursor appears to blink according to what the scope was showing me on the video signal. The keyboard at least partially works. I was able to get the machine to respond. So I'm really hopeful that this thing is going to be right back into service and be a great member of the collection. So join me next time for part 2, the video board. Until then, thank you for watching and stay classy.